I had a cool dad, man. Like, and not to brag. Like, I just like I didn't realize it at the time. I was too busy hating him. Okay, but you know, like, I look back at the stats now. He was fucking cool. All right. Like, you know how I know? Because growing up, I'm 35. He's dead, but still, like, I have more ex-stepmoms than ex-girlfriends. All right. My dad was blowing me out of the water, you guys. I remember when I would visit him on the weekends, he would put a sock on his door. He's like, hey, don't bother me. Like, he never gave me, like, the sex talk. I just heard it, you know? Like, it was like an audiobook situation. Also, I feel like he just looked at me and he was like, I got a chubby son who likes Lord of the Rings. I can skip this talk. I do remember one time, because I grew up, like I got the internet at the same time that I hit puberty, which is just, that was the fucking gold rush for millennial dudes. Just going to sex.org, that was amazing, dude. So much fun. And I remember, like, I also was a big fan of Dragon Ball Z, and you know, when you're a little boy, you're a gremlin, and I was like, do these characters ever fuck? And on the internet, they do. And I didn't know what search history was, and I didn't clear it out after using the family computer. My dad had never talked about sex, but one morning at breakfast, he walked up to the counter and just walked up and went, hey, that shit ain't cool. And then he just went to work. It's the only time he ever talked to me about sex. It was very fun. I was stressing my parents out a lot. I got white boy arrested a bunch. Does anybody know what that is? No, there's no white guys in here. White boy arrested is when you do something illegal and the cops show up and they just take you home. Yeah, in the early 2000s, the cops were just Uber for me, you guys. It was rad. I was stressing my parents out. I remember one time they were like, we got to put this kid in an after-school program. They put me in Boy Scouts, except I didn't know what Boy Scouts was, and this was a pre-internet age, all right? And they dropped me off late. I didn't even know if I was in the right place. I was just like by myself in this church parking lot. I see a group of kids off in the corner, like dressed like Hitler Youths, you know? If you're confused, Google Hitler Youth and Google Boy Scout uniform. They're the exact same thing, all right? Someone cooked there. And I walk up to this group of kids, and you know they're doing like the flag ceremony. Like, that's when you find out who the autistic kid is. He's way too into folding it, dude. Like, he's gonna do great things in ROTC. And I remember he dropped it, and like in slow motion, we all just watched it bounce off the ground. You know, we're like, oh, that's not good. And I remember our scoutmaster just looked off in the distance and went, well, we gotta burn it. And I raised my hand. I was like, lighting stuff on fire is why I'm here. I'll do that right now. And we burned the American flag, and like within the first 5 minutes of me doing Boy Scouts, I was like, this is fucking sick, dude. And then, like, we went into the church. I thought we were gonna have a normal Boy Scout ceremony. Who was waiting for us? Every cop in the city that I lived in, because my scoutmaster and his teenage son were selling drugs out of the back of the church, you guys. Yeah, and they did not go peacefully, okay? There was a high-speed chase involving a PT Cruiser. Do you know what one of those cars looks like taking a speed bump at 80 miles an hour? Like a hippo moving through water, dude. Everyone inside just like doing this. Rightfully so, the parents were called because the scoutmaster was arrested, so we were just in this church by ourselves, and the cops were like, oh, we should call their parents. My mom came and picked me up, and like, my parents are from that generation of people where they just don't talk about their problems, okay? So I got in the back of her Volvo, and she went, well, that's Boy Scouts, and just drove away. Dropped me off at my dad's house, and he was like, how was Boy Scouts, dude? I was like, how is Boy Scouts? It's sex, drugs, and rock and roll. When can I go back? The answer was never. And they never told me that that's not what Boy Scouts is. So I was just asking weird questions to my friends all throughout like middle school, all right? We'd be at the lunch table. I'd be like, hey, what country's flag did y'all burn this week? So I really want to do Japan for what they did to my granddad. That's a World War II joke for the fellas. A few years went by. Little thing happened in America, 9/11. You guys remember that? Yeah. Legally, we can't forget, okay? I faked sick from school that day, all right? I thought I was gonna have like I thought I was gonna watch The Price is Right and crank hog, all right? Unfortunately, I watched 2,000 people die on the TV, okay? My mom realized what was going on. She came home and was like, trying to talk me through it. We were watching the TV at the time, and I don't know if you guys remember it at all, but like, the news was bouncing across to like all the reactions globally, and Dan Rather was like, we're gonna go to the Middle East and see what's happening over there, and they showed Afghanistan and all these people jumping up and down, burning American flags, and I sat up and I was like, yo, when did Boy Scouts go international? I could have studied abroad this entire time. Like, You guys, my name's Spencer Bland. Thank you so much. Y'all been great. Hell yeah.